Hey everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm going to be doing some baking today. I actually have not made egg white bread in I don't know how many weeks, and I had a hankering for some comfort food, and so I'm going to make my absolute favorite. I like had to debate about this in my head. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite egg white bread recipe. I mean, there's some really good recipes that are a good, base, like if you're wanting to make a sandwich and stuff like that. Those are, fantastic for all kinds of applications. This one is very specific, and it's one that I just eat by itself. It's not for sandwiches. I mean, I could just eat these as a snack, and they're delicious just by themselves. Of course, I do have the recipe written out on my blog, and so I will link that down in the description. So of course, these are the olive rosemary rolls, and I'm going to make them according to the recipe from scratch. I'm not using my mix this time. I do want to develop this recipe with my mix, but I haven't done it yet, and I just wanted the comfort food. So I'm going to do it from scratch. And the only change really that I'm making is that instead of fresh rosemary, which would be delicious, but it's winter right now and my rosemary plant died. What I'm gonna do is I am going to be using some of this rosemary lemon salt that my brother gifted me for Christmas. My brother and sister-in-law made it with rosemary from their bush and some like fresh lemon zest. Oh my gosh. So in the middle of cook time for these, you brush with olive oil and sprinkle with flake salt and some of the rosemary. So at that point, I'm gonna brush with olive oil and sprinkle with the rosemary lemon salt, and I think it's going to be amazing. Most of these ingredients you're probably familiar with if you've made the egg white breads before. I of course have egg white powder. I have allulose. That's important for browning. It's not for sweetness. It's more just for the browning effect. I'm going to use a little bit of yeast for flavor. I'm going to use some inulin. That helps activate the yeast and just give a little bit more flavor. This recipe does have 1 tablespoon of arrowroot, and that is a starch, but it's only 1 tablespoon in the entire recipe, so it really adds very minimal carbs, but you can leave it out if you want to do that. I have salt, I have cream of tartar, and then after whipping all of that up, what I'm going to be adding is some Kalamata olives. These are the Trader Joe's sliced Kalamata olives. I just kind of dried them with a paper towel so they're not adding a ton of liquid to the whipped batter. I'm going to add some granulated garlic, and then this is the special ingredient, and I will give you substitutions for this. I do really like this in this recipe. It is a olive oil powder plus acacia fiber. So a lot of my recipes have acacia fiber and some kind of a fat powder like butter powder, and so you can use acacia fiber and a fat powder like butter powder if you don't have this. But I do really like this for especially this recipe. But for any olive oil, like I have olive oil baguettes and different things like that, it's really, really good. And as always, I will put a link down below if you're interested in checking that out on Amazon. And then, like I mentioned, in the middle of cook time, I will be brushing with olive oil and sprinkling with the rosemary salt. The sponsor of the video today is Armra Colostrum. Armra Colostrum comes in both these convenient little stick packs as well as a bulk jar, depending on what works for you. I've been adding Armra Colostrum to my routine for several months now, and I have worked my way up to 3 scoops or 3 servings per day, and I am loving the results I've been seeing. Everything from new hair growth to improved digestion. Armra only uses the highest quality, sustainably sourced colostrum from grass-fed cows here in the US, and they also use a cold chain biopotent technology that allows them to purify the colostrum at a low heat, and that helps preserve as many nutrients as possible. Speaking of nutrients, there are amazingly over 400 bioactive nutrients in this animal-based whole food, and the bioactive part in that is really important because really what's the point of taking in nutrients if our bodies can't actually use them? Armra Colostrum has a special offer for all of my wonderful viewers. You can get 15% off of your first order just by using my link, tryarmra.com/indigo. That's tryarmra.com/indigo. Just using that link will automatically get you that 15% discount on your order. Thanks so much to Armra Colostrum for sponsoring the video today. It really is sponsors like Armra that make it possible for me to offer all of the free content that I do offer to you guys. So I really appreciate it when you support the companies that support my channel. First thing I'm going to do is add a teaspoon of inulin to my bowl. And in the recipe, I mentioned you can use honey or inulin or really any kind of sugar. That's going to help activate the yeast, and hopefully the yeast eats up a little bit of that sugar. The next thing is some warm water. I'm just gonna measure that straight into my bowl. We're gonna do 295 milliliters of warm water. Just want that inulin to get dissolved in there. Next, I'm going to add my 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast. And if you don't want to do the yeast, you can just leave out the yeast and the inulin and it'll be just fine. The yeast just adds a little extra flavor. All right, I'm just going to let this sit for a few minutes to let the yeast bloom. Next, I'm going to add 100 grams of egg white powder to the mixture. And this adorable jar was given to me by a friend, and they are from IKEA, if anyone is curious. I always get asked, but IKEA, I don't know if it's still a current product or not, but that is where it came from. Next, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar and also a half a teaspoon of salt. I always use Redmond real salt. Next thing I'm going to add is 10 grams of beef gelatin. I use the Now brand, and I will put links to anything that I use in here that I can put links to down in the description, so check that out down below. You can also use a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum here if you don't have gelatin or don't want to use that. Then I am going to do 2 tablespoons of allulose, and that is about 18 grams. And again, optionally, I am adding 8 grams or 1 tablespoon of arrowroot powder. Arrowroot starch, arrowroot flour, they're all the same. Okay, gonna get this moistened with the whisk. And then we're going to get it all whipped up. Before I start the mixer, I am going to get my oven preheated to 325. The other thing I'm going to do before I get my mixer going is coat my ice cream scoop in coconut oil. And it's cold in here, so my coconut oil is quite hard. So you can scoop this batter any old way. You don't need a fancy ice cream scoop, but it does make it easier, more convenient, and you get these really nice size and shape of rolls. And I just like to coat it with coconut oil. That was a great tip I got from a viewer to help the batter come out easily. So I'm going to get this all coated, and I'll set that aside for when the batter is done. All right, now it's time to get this whipping. I am going to start the mixer out on low and then increase the speed gradually to high. That helps avoid splatter. And then I'm going to be whipping it for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long it takes to get a nice, like marshmallow fluff, shaving cream type consistency. That is looking nice and thick. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my half a teaspoon of garlic powder. There we go. And then we're going to do 6 tablespoons of the Keto Super Powder. That is half acacia fiber, half olive oil powder. And so if you don't have this and you do have butter powder and acacia fiber, you can do 3 tablespoons of each at this point. Oop, we don't need that. And 36 grams is the 6 tablespoons. I'm going to get that mixed up a little bit, and then I'll add in my olives. All right, I'm going to add in my olives, but I'm going to save out a few to like stick on top of the rolls, and that's just, because it's pretty. That's fine. All right, going to get this mixed up, but not whipped at this point. Just barely mixed. Okay, gonna give this a little mix by hand here to make sure we got everything. And I just realized recently that I'm out of any kind of spray oil, so I'm just gonna use some of the olive oil and kind of spread it around in here. I don't know that you need it for sure, but it makes me feel a little bit better because I do not like it when the bread sticks to these pans. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it is not fun. Now, using my ice cream scoop that I coated in coconut oil, I'm going to try to evenly disperse these olives in here and give some nice big rolls. Now I'm going to add my pretty olives on the top here. these are ready to pop into the oven. I'm gonna bake them for 15 minutes and then pull them out and do the olive oil brush and the rosemary lemon salt and then bake them for 10 more minutes. I'm gonna get my 2 tablespoons of olive oil ready, and I have my basting brush, and my salt is ready to sprinkle. "15 minutes of cook time and they're already looking gorgeous. I'm gonna get these brushed with the olive oil and then a nice sprinkle of the rosemary lemon salt. All right, heading back into the oven for 10 more minutes. All right, all done. These are just the most gorgeous egg white bread. I think the presentation is just so nice. They also smell amazing. The whole house smells good. I'm gonna let these cool for 5 or 10 minutes, just till they're cool enough to handle, and then I will take them out of the pan. All right, let's get these out. They look so nice coming out of these pans, and I love the texture that the pans give to the bottoms. Of course, if you don't have one, you can totally scoop the batter just directly onto like a parchment paper lined pan or silicone lined pan, but I just think just takes it to the next level. So there they are. I just think they're so delicious and they're so gorgeous. And it's one of those recipes that really scratches the itch for me if I really want some kind of a comfort food. These really do it. And there's very little drawback because it's almost all protein with some healthy fat in there. This one really melts in your mouth. You can see how it kind of like squishes down when you bite it. It just melts. And it's like, this is one that when I first made it, I was shocked that it actually tasted kind of doughy, like doughy. Egg white bread doesn't typically taste doughy. This one with the acacia fiber and the olive oil powder and all that, something about it just hits the spot. So I am going to go ahead and enjoy this. I will have the link to the recipe down in the description, so you can check that out there, and also the links to any of the things I used in this video. I really appreciate you guys baking with me today, and I will see you again in the next video. Little olive speaking out.